Oil added antifreeze gravy. Starting up. Of course. Great. With grief in half, as they say. It will still be necessary to change the candles. I think we won't even roll back the pack. Smoke naturally. Today we will go to Dalnyak. At the same time, we'll burn half of what I refueled. In short, I drove my head to this place, went for rubber, negotiated. He arrived early in the morning, got up, arrived, said, and I just gave it to some guy. Man, I drove an hour and a half here on the highway. It's terrible, it's just terrible. What kind of people? Well, it seems to me that he is a starball. There was a nice Velcro that he kind of gave away. If such people, unfortunately, alas and ah, but in general I drove. It was 46, now 109, turns out to be 60. 70-odd kilometers. Everything is okay, except that the temperature outside shows -9 degrees, and our consumption is some kind of hell 18. 18 on the highway. Somewhere, something is rotten again. It's rotten somewhere and showing incorrect parameters. I will continue to look for rubber. Just drove here for a fucking hour and a half. On traffic jams, on the CAD. Disgusting. And now it's an hour and a half back, plus or minus with the same success, and there are even more traffic jams. So we'll have to go through the city. In short, a man. Most likely he deceived me, because there was a very favorable price for the massacre. I bent him a little. And it so happened that, like, he gave it to someone. Such a thing, of course. It's very so-so. I don't want studded rubber, but I'll have to along the way. Maybe now we'll go to Vagovskoye or something like that. Oh, yes, what kind of people, what kind of people. I wrote to him 10,000 times that I was going, I was coming, and so on. Okay, shit happens. It's just that the 14th radius is being hunted for him, especially for Velcro. The 15th radius is just in bulk, but you will never find the 14th anywhere. In normal condition, for a normal price. Everyone wants either $1 million or some shit for the same $1 million. There's nothing to be done, that's the reality. And the floor. We are looking for tires, we are going somewhere already. Get sick. Murino Parnassus. In general, rubber was found here. The truth is winter, with thorns. Not what I wanted. But a very cheap condition. Well, it also looks like. It's definitely enough for me for one season. That's it. While I'm looking for other options. Well, at least something. Because I'm already tired of the two front wheels that are constantly being lowered. There is, of course, its own atmosphere. I barely got here, well, honestly, some kind of incomprehensible labyrinth. And there is no road, of course. We're going home for a tire in general. Finally arrived at the district. It wasn't a trip, but some kind of horror. I drove and prayed. The rubber we have is not that good, as well as the second wheel itself. We drove along the highway and got there. In general, everything is fine. The sensor is contagious. This one is lying. Very much lying. I drove in general, calculated the engine temperature by oil, because the type of oil temperature sensor shows 90 plus the engine temperature, which is a bit much, really. And the sensor that shows some bullshit on the dashboard, like 80 degrees. There can be absolutely no such thing. And it looks like I'm going to have to change the thermostat after all. I think he's kind of in between here. But there is no one here, so you will need to climb there to change the thermostat. This was not part of my plans. It costs a penny, but its replacement is of course. Absolutely such a thing. Not even though the pipes are hot, they are cold. But we don't have a stove. The stove will still need to go to do next week. Because you need water, you need to spill the radiator itself. Now we are waiting for the engine to cool down. How are we doing there? There's probably a lot of smoke. It smells like gasoline, damn it. Or that shit smells like washing chemistry. In fact, I don't really believe it, but then we'll look into the cylinders, what's there and how. There is no desire to remove the sensor on a hot one. It's a matter of 5 seconds. I moved the bracket away, took out one sensor, threw the second one. That's it. And there are no problems. In the comments, the sensors were correctly written, all Chinese lie, absolutely everything. But I hope that at least the one that is ordered, it is not particularly expensive, will show the correct parameters or not. Let's see. The sensor with an elastic band lasts for 30 seconds. In and out. Come on. Stay where you are. So let's go. Everything is really hotter. That's it. Antifreeze smells disgusting. Yes, yes. So, now to your attention the sensor itself. This is very strange, of course. But why is he so fucked up? In short, the sensor saw some shit. There may be some kind of overheating. Maybe not, it's unclear. We will not guess. In general, the new sensor is integrated. The solution of the issue is 200 and a few kopecks rubles and a few minutes of time. Oh, what a pity that everything was reset. By the way, the signal lived. I do not know what it signals. But now with a lock, it howls and won't start. Yeah. Yeah. So. Epperst. A new sensor, damn it. So, at least he started showing the temperature. At least some. Well, that's it. Quiet. Tin, it works like a diesel engine. But in general, we have a temperature of 60 degrees. At least he's not lying as actively as that sensor. Maybe that sensor is already there. It is unknown how old he is. Maybe 10, maybe more, maybe less. I don't know. In short, that's all. Ah, Epperst. Here I am a dumbass. He troits, right. The motor is troit. I can do this, I know how, I practice. So, and that's it. And everything is as if. Now he will expel the remnants from the cylinder. Handsome, you can't say anything. Damn smokes. As if he began to smoke even more bitterly than he had smoked before. Maybe there is a cleaning process going on, but I doubt it. Along the way, this shit gets into the oil. So in the near future, we will move on to the next stages of cleaning. The hairstyle, of course, is a buzz. To the next stages of cleaning the motor. Specifically, we will already clean the cylinders and change the oil. There is no other way yet. Well, this sensor is also lying along the way. It can hardly be 110 degrees now. Nothing at all. Somewhere there should be a plus or minus about a dozen on top. Damn, he's lying. It looks like he's lying. I was unlucky with this Chinese sensor. We will order another one. That's the way things are. The original costs just unreal money and would find it working again. And on this sensor, as I was prompted in the comments, everything is tied up. Yes, and this is understandable. We will think further about what to do. In general, you need to get into the wiring. Stopudovo, we have a temperature outside, minus 24 degrees. And now it's like there's plus 5 or so. This means that we have some kind of rotten wire lying on something somewhere, or it just rotted. And, in general, the readings are 100% wrong anywhere. That's it. Well, 110 degrees is too much in my opinion. It stinks of oil and the wrong mixture again. A wonderful car. I feel less and less like poking around here in this regard. The sensor, of course, lies specifically. I'm going to drive a circle now. Maybe he'll come to his senses, but I doubt it very much. Yes. Well, we are waiting for a change of shoes, and what will they tell me about the suspension? There, the right wheel makes me very nervous. It's just a record, the season, everything. So we sit and wait. Well, or we'll go home now and wait. The temperature has already gone beyond critical. Allegedly. Nonsense. Yes. What can I say? The sensor is 100% lying. It looks like you will need to install the old one. Wonderful. Change the sensor. Well, it's worth the bullshit. You can now try the cheapest sensor, which costs like 200 rubles there. From some kind of Chinese-made now name in general. But he stupidly shows 110 degrees of Baldes. And the temperature outside is minus 24. 68 degrees engine temperature. Along the way, we put the old sensor on a new elastic band, and that's it. Minus 250 rubles. Bullshit. Okay, sensor. Figs with him. Just on it. Almost everything on it is tied to this sensor, or rather, it pulls each other, and says how much fuel to pour, how much air, and so on. Probably, about the air too. There is a failure. We do the same thing, only as quickly as possible, we remove the elastic band from this sensor, and hang it on a new one, so that the antifreeze does not flow like a river. The elastic band was left there along the way, right? Ah, I closed the lid, nothing will pour anywhere here. Baldesny sensor, you can't say anything. Hi. How are they made at all? Are they watching any? At least I do not know the instructions. Yeah. It's a pity, of course. I thought I would solve the problem. Now we still need to throw off the battery. Well, that's it. In fact, you need to disassemble the wiring here. I don't trust this wiring at all. Where does this chip come from, and what is it fused with? Well, why exactly is it fused? It's not entirely clear. That's the whole replacement. That's it. We order a new sensor and so on. And this sensor has stopped showing anything at all. And not, there's an arrow gone up. Come on, come on. Well, what else is this? Smokes. In short, okay, this shifting of sensors back and forth is nonsense. You need to go to the forum, read what sensors are advised by the functions. And there is a normal amount of advice there. We will start from there. It's not that the change was soaring much, but determine the temperature by engine temperature, oil temperature is such a thing. So far so. For now, let's stop here. But we'll go next week. Next week, probably. Spill the stove. Because it's cold in the car. It's not getting funny anymore. And provided that today +5 is there somewhere. It's still kind of warm. The zero temperature since morning today was generally disgusting. And the engine warmed up for a long time. Along the way and the thermostat. It's jammed and the stove is not blowing the stove. We will deal with all this. Well, or I'll spit and score. Well, except for the stove, of course. The stove is needed. The machine should not boil. There are no prerequisites. In antifreeze, like an oil film does not appear, so everything is okay. Here we are waiting for Shinky. Look what I found on it. Reception of hazardous waste. Hazardous waste has been handed over. Baldes. It would always be like that. But it didn't really get any better. I still have 2 wheels here. Such things. Well, at least they took up this case in the area. That all sorts of garbage is collected. How she rides, of course. The loop needs to be made in some way. But not today, today is all. I need to go to work. What's going on here? Minus the left wheel. Minus the right wheel. Wonderful. It's just that Comrade 1 is still pinched. Both options are so-so. But the benefit is not for long. Now you will need to start. To go somewhere? Yes, everything is bad here. Well, that's for sure. Why look for another parking space? Let's give someone a squeeze. It has become very convenient. It's amazing just like that. Antifreeze, it is still present. Holy shit, there's condensation on the wheelbarrow. But it's there, okay. Antifreeze. There is a break. What's in the oil? The oil is slightly below average. But great, great. Let's start now, pump up the wheels. I hope he's at least at home. No need to search, knock, call. Anyway, I'm just not going out of here in any way. So, the key. The key is 410. Well, like why do that if you can find another parking space? It's not clear. I have questions for this type, of course. Of a certain kind. So, and the keys. Where did I go? And there. Right on the spot. Even some kind of coupling is present. The clutch. Pechkov. Yeah. Oh, it was a terrible launch. Oh. We stood there for only 3 days. In short, we swing the wheels. Fuck, they've already shat on a clean knife. Let's take a look. The revs are a little too high. I don't know for what reason. We won't figure it out. And it smokes less. What does it mean? It doesn't really mean anything. It just smokes less. That's it. And now I have winter tires, the same one. She certainly saw some shit, but 4,000 rubles Matador, and 2,000 rubles Pargolovo. Now we're going to solve some other issues. As long as the weather allows, I got to the water source. He himself sits down rapidly, so he acts quickly. I've already changed the pipe to a new one, put the old one on the sealant. Of course, it's so disgusting to itself. But I really don't like him. It feels like it's already inside. Somewhere here it's starting to disperse. It would also be nice to change this one to the stove inlet, but we will deal with this later. Now it means the situation is like this. The submersible pump is in a clean lake, and we will wash it through the return, and see how much garbage we have there. If at all this garbage. The car is cold to the point of impossibility, although it seems like antifreeze is, but it's so barely warm. So, until everything is completely flooded here. Turn on the light. Well, that's it, let's go. And we will see what is there at all. Well, the pressure is such a thing, of course. What do we have there? Come on. Oh, how uncomfortable it is. I don't know, I can't see anything yet. What's wrong with the pump? Did he dive wrong somewhere or something? In this way, we're going to spill it now. Let's see what's there at all. It is necessary that the stove does not burst. Yes. And why would it burst, right? It seems like a trickle of such a thing. So inconvenient. In general, the story is like this, not that there was a lot of dirt there. Some bits of sealant popped out. It seems like the flow there is the same as it has become back, at least. I don't know how it's going to end now. What do we do next? Antifreeze up to the most I can't run, and wait until antifreeze pours out of the stove instead of water. The situation is certainly ambiguous, to be honest, because I thought the stove was full after all. If it's not. Yes, it's unclear. I filled up the water here, it's unclear. Is the stove in order? Is it not in order? We are all waiting until antifreeze is poured instead of water. But it's kind of an abnormal jet. That's how the pump works, everything is fine. Because she then squeezed out a lot of old antifreeze canister by gravity. We'll wait and see how it all goes. Some kind of trickle is incomprehensibly coming. Antifreeze eats. Order. But this tube is empty. Maybe it will fill it right now and drive it away. I don't want to drive with a cold stove at all. Well, plus the sensors still show the devil knows what. Therefore, the stove is needed in any case. That's how we wait. Yes, in general, nothing is clear. Absolutely nothing is clear. The air is still present in the system along the way. The stove does not heat, and it may be necessary to climb back into the flap. It may not be fully closed. Such a thing. Such a thing. Pargolovo do not give anything. There's some air coming out, but I think it sucks in the air on the contrary, and spits back out through this molasses. In other words, nothing helps at all. There is some kind of jet there. There is even some kind of jet there. The air should be plus or minus warm, but it's like it's not freezing outside now, of course, but it's already close to that. And the air is about the same as an open flap. Well, there is an open flap, of course, there is generally air blowing from the street. And so at least somehow they are driven through the stove. I just don't understand how airtight the system itself is and whether antifreeze is pouring from the stove into the legs. But we'll find out later, of course. There will be another attempt to pump. Moreover, the pipes are plus or minus warm. But this is the pipe that is barely warm. I don't know how. I don't know how to solve this. I don't know how to solve the problem, to be honest. We will read, watch, try. I still have enough antifreeze, so I'm experimenting. Experiments continue. But that's all for now. Now I'm going to try again to pump air out of the system in the same way. Maybe it will come out. If not, then go to the forum, read on. So far so. For now, we will drive like on the street. It's just that the problem is that there is absolutely nothing in the car. Absolute humidity, let's say. You got in the car and all the windows fogged up. As long as it sweats, as long as it warms up, it will take a very long time. So, something like that. We solve the issue further. So, there is a certain kind of progress compared to what it was before. That's what's going on. There is some movement. Yes, it's inconvenient as well. That's it, the muck is coming. And not bad. Along the way, this is a flap that I repaired. Repaired, but you did not repair. So somehow she got up wrong. But it was jammed, so we climb there next time. That's all for today. I'm finishing everything already. It's already night. Overnight in the village. I wanted to make a door, but it won't work. It won't work, I won't have time. In short, something like that. The slurry is coming, so there should be a warm stove by itself. In that regard, hot. That is, we give more gas, more jet. Everything is logical, everything should work like that. It remains only to understand why it does not work. Well, there's only a flap and a radiator shit. I don't know, we'll think about it. So, what do we have with the wheels? It seems to be in order. There is also order here. What is this? I hope it's not mine. The wrong key, as always. And so on. So, the epic with the stove is the next day. I sat and looked at the forums, asked about this question, and came to the conclusion. that the problem with a cold stove can be caused in two ways. These are two incidents. This is a problem with the flap and the heater of the stove itself. It's also a radiator. It may also come to an end, which does not fit in my head at all, because it will need to blow up everything at all. In general, everything. The torpedo will have to be removed. All this is to pick out again, here and there, the steering wheel. It's a very, very, very bad idea to film this whole thing. But if it's the radiator of the stove, you have to do it. Based on the data from the forum, there is most likely a Chinese stove there for a long time. And it turns out that the upper lid, which is responsible for receiving and feeding antifreeze into the return, it expands over time, meaning plastic, and begins to flow among themselves. There is a lot of information about this on the drive too. They opened the lids, sawed, looked, tried to do it, but most likely I will not do it. I will try to restore it, because the chance of its restoration is slightly more than 0. Therefore, there is only the replacement of the stove, and this is a very shitty occupation. I can tell you straight out. To exclude it now. In order to eliminate the flap now, we will use the packaging technology, where the motor takes the air from under the hood into the stove. We just close the whole thing with a package. We start the car, wait until it warms up, and see if the stove is blowing or not. If it blows cold again, it's all over. This is the end of the radiator. I certainly hope for the best, but I'm sure that the radiator of the stove will have to be changed, which I don't want to do at all in any case. And this is complete nonsense. I don't know. This was not part of my plans. And again, what kind of stove to put? The radiator is meant. If you put the Chinese one, then this situation can happen again, and so on. But after what amount of time, it is not clear, because they write on the forums that after 3 or 4 weeks it manifests itself. Someone writes that he left for 2 years, it showed up. It's about Chinese stoves. If you take a good analog, it's worth it now, the same value is worth 10,000+ there. Although it recently cost 1.5, if you know what I mean. 1,500 rubles I would have given to fill up. The cheapest stove there costs 1,200 Chinese rubles. The same cartridge or some analogs. But the Vagovskoye stoves are worth their weight in gold, even at the disassembly on the same Avito, if you look. They just either don't exist, or they cost a lot of money. The original stove costs 40,000 rubles. The radiator is meant. When I say stove, keep in mind the radiator. 40,000 rubles. Well, the stove and the cost of this car is such a thing. It's just very much like that. So if I change it, it will be the Chinese equivalent. It is not known how long it will manifest this problem again. And whether I will change at all, because in principle. But the weather still allows. It's not such a cold temperature right now. Plus or minus about 0. But if it's -10. Okay, if it's one thing to drive in a cold car. But how to warm it up if it gets covered with snow there or it gets covered with ice? I don't know. Therefore, we are implementing a patented packaging technology. And we start the car and wait. We are waiting for it to warm up. If the wind is not warm, at least warm, then it's definitely a stove. If that's the only problem, we climb into the flap and see what's wrong there. Although I'm sure it's like that there. Here. And while this is going on, I'm going to change the door hinge. Ripped it off. Quiet. I finally tore off this bolt. We need to somehow break off the upper part. Pull out the loop and insert a new one. A new repair shop, wherever it is now. Because there's a glove compartment in the car. At least I got rid of the wheel, but it's still crap that you'll find. Everything lies on. Out of place. Although it was difficult to call it their places. That's it. That's the story. The package is integrated. I ate antifreeze, poured more, the brake is in place, the oil is also eating. Such a thing. We start and wait. Come on. Epperst. Yeah. Well, my God. He eats butter normally, yes. Well, while it's warming up, I'll do the loop. Well, what can I say? The engine warmed up, judging by the oil temperature. It's okay. Both nozzles are hot inlet and outlet. But the stove doesn't exactly blow warm. Provided that I gave the air current about 30%, probably. That is, the package was pushed back a little. The stove really blows cold. Well, cool like that. If the package is removed, then it will generally blow icy. It turns out that this is not a flap. Never a flap at all? Yes. Sadness is sadness. Still antifreeze devoured so decently. Perhaps due to the fact that I was throwing the pipes, the air in the system came out somewhere. Maybe. Maybe not. In short, such a thing. Ride with the package on. Closed by 70% of the duct. I doubt that this will help me much in sub-zero temperatures. Such bullshit. I don't want to. I don't want to remove the radiator of the stove, change it. It's simple. Just imagine, it all needs to be kicked out of here. Not to knock out, but to twist, to remove. But there is something to be beaten out, there is also something to be beaten out here. It's an ass. I don't have another head for 24. I don't know what it is. I just don't know. In addition, if the package is left where it is, the motor of the stove will strain very much. And that's not cool. I don't know, maybe I can travel for a couple of days with the result that I have. Maybe it's still a ghostly traffic jam, it will sell through the air, which I doubt. Because as much liquid goes in, so much goes out. I'm talking about antifreeze from the radiator of the stove. But this is nonsense. This is nonsense. And the loop just can't be removed. That is, you can remove it now, but there is a locking ring on top. We need to remove it with something. I don't seem to have a tool with me. We need to carry it home. Passat B3 is a cool car, but if it was not infringed by some collective farmers and was not repaired with improvised means, like what was lying on the floor of shit and sticks. I'm going to drive the engine again tomorrow. We still need to do a plus or minus coking through the tank. Do not to coking, cleaning the system. We need to burn the fuel, although it's still a fig. I'll take a look. And there I will already draw conclusions. If something needs to be changed next week, dig out a day and blow up everything here, damn it, and change it. It's a pain. It's a pain? 82 degrees we have according to the oil sensor, so there's 90 plus 95 in the engine somewhere there, probably. It blows barely warm, but it got better as I shook the pipes a little, and at the same time, I was already muffled and started up. And now I'm sitting and kind of enjoying all this, but I understand that if I go now, the temperature there will drop. It's been like this before. The stove will still have to be changed along the way. See trials tomorrow, nothing happened today. I have no desire to go anywhere just like that. Tomorrow, at least we'll do it. We'll drive a little. But the temperature is still even, not even hot. In general, I have never removed a hot package. Now the air is coming stupidly from the street. Such a thing. Here. I also couldn't unscrew the loop. Everything turned sour there. I unscrewed this bolt, but it doesn't work at all to knock it up. She hung there stupidly. In sour, in rusty, and so on. For 30 years, no one has touched this loop at all, naturally, judging by its condition. Here. So you will need to go somewhere to the village, take some thinner chisel, well, or something shock-resistant, and knock it out from the bottom up. Because of this, I can't put another loop. The locking ring is figs with it. I'll take this 5-minute case off. If anything, we won't need it for vandalism anyway, because you've seen the construction of the loop. I'll show it again, of course. Here, the only thing that pleased me was that the opposite part of the lock unscrewed without any problems. But there was a 15-key key needed. There was no key for 15, so the gas key went in. But there is no point in changing it now, because our door is sagging. And the lock will simply split the new counterpart immediately with 3 blows. So that's it for today. I filled the loop with all possible liquids, but it will be in the process. It's still a struggle. I just don't have anything like that here that I can put under the door so that it doesn't interfere with itself. Doesn't put pressure on the hinge, and so that nothing is too much there, although everything is already bad there. Therefore, we will go to the village on the weekend. It caught fire again. Barely visible. The brake level sensor barely lit up. The brake is in the level. The pedal. The pedal is in order. Generally in order. It's not like she's drowning too much. Damn, well, there is a feeling that she is drowning. Okay, we'll deal with this case a little later. 4 now? That's it for today. I'm going on business tomorrow. At the same time, I'll see what's what. With a stove? I really want to believe that this is still a cork that got stuck there, which could not be pulled out in any way. Somewhere up there. We'll decide everything tomorrow. It will be solved. Tomorrow everything will be decided. Yes, that's it.